rose over Houston's skyline, turning glass towers into molten gold. The energy of the city was palpable, its streets humming with early morning traffic, yachts cutting through the bay, and helicopters slicing through the clouds above. Inside one of Houston's most exclusive penthouses, overlooking the city, Robert Langston, a tech billionaire whose name had dominated the Houston scene for years, sipped his espresso, unaware that the world was about to notice him in a way he had never experienced before. The Forbes 2026 billionaire ranking had just been released. Houston, already a hub of wealth, had 18 billionaires listed, each a titan of oil, tech, real estate, or finance. But it wasn't just the numbers. There was one icon, a figure from entertainment and business, whose inclusion had left the world buzzing, someone whose influence transcended money. By the time journalists and social media influencers dissected every line of the Forbes report, Houston streets, private clubs, and boardrooms were alight with speculation. Who had risen? Who had fallen? And why was this icon suddenly part of the billionaire conversation? This is more than a list of names and dollar signs. It's a window into power, ambition, and influence in modern America. Forbes rankings aren't just numbers. They're symbols of innovation, risk-taking, and the complex human stories behind massive wealth. For viewers, this story delivers insider intrigue, the drama of success, and lessons from those who reached the pinnacle of financial achievement. From the boardroom rivalries to the personal sacrifices, from humble beginnings to global, Houston, Texas, had always been synonymous with oil, energy, and industry. But by 2026, it had become a diverse financial ecosystem. Tech startups sprouted alongside real estate empires, oil barons diversified into renewable energy, and entertainment moguls quietly built fortunes that rivaled traditional industrialists. The 18 Houston billionaires represented power, resilience, and influence. Robert Langston, the tech visionary whose AI startup changed industrial manufacturing. Maria Chen, the real estate mogul known for transforming downtown Houston's skyline. Elijah Brooks, the oil magnate diversifying into green energy. And 15 others, each with a unique story of risk, innovation, and determination. Then there was the icon, Celeste Rivera, a globally recognized entertainer and entrepreneur whose career had spanned music, film, and philanthropy. Unlike the others, her wealth was public-facing, but her inclusion in a list dominated by traditional billionaires highlighted something deeper. Influence, not just net worth. The rankings were more than numbers. They sparked conversations about competition, legacy, and perception. Langston, for example, had hoped to claim the top Houston spot, only to see Chen surpass him due to a recent property acquisition. Brooks felt conflicted. He had achieved immense wealth, but the market's volatility threatened to erode his empire. Meanwhile, Rivera's inclusion caused whispers. Did an entertainer truly belong among industrial giants? Social media exploded. Twitter threads debated the fairness of rankings. Local news stations dissected the city's wealth. Journalists questioned the sustainability of these fortunes, uncovering hidden stories of personal sacrifice, ruthless business decisions, and even secret rivalries. Inside private boardrooms and luxury yachts, billionaires themselves reacted with tension, pride, and in some cases, quiet anxiety. Every fortune had a story of calculated risk, and every ranking brought scrutiny. As the list circulated, a deeper truth emerged. Wealth was no longer confined to the traditional industries Houston was known for. Tech and entertainment were now on equal footing with oil and real estate, shifting the power dynamic. Even more intriguing was Rivera's inclusion. She wasn't just wealthy, she was strategically influential. Her ventures in media, fashion, and philanthropy had quietly reshaped industries and connected her to elite financial networks. The icon had bridged two worlds, the glamour of public life and the secrecy of high finance, challenging the notion of what it meant to be a billionaire. For Houston itself, the story was deeply personal. These billionaires weren't just names. They were neighbors, mentors, rivals, and inspirations. Their fortunes represented dreams realized, yes, but also sacrifices. Broken marriages, lonely nights, relentless work schedules, and the constant scrutiny of the public eye. Viewers would feel awe and tension as the personal stories behind each fortune were revealed. Langston's sleepless nights coding breakthroughs, Chen's childhood struggle in a small apartment before conquering skyscrapers, Brooks' hidden battle with family expectations, Rivera's fight to balance fame with financial acumen. The climax came during the Forbes Gala in Houston, where the 18 billionaires and Rivera were honored. Cameras flashed as each walked the red carpet, but behind the glitz, tension simmered. Langston and Chen exchanged measured smiles, a silent acknowledgement of their rivalry. Brooks remained distant, lost in thought, calculating his next business move. Rivera arrived last, commanding attention not through words, but presence. Her influence was undeniable. Her aura reshaped the room. As Forbes revealed the top Houston billionaire for 2026, a hush fell over the room. It wasn't who the public expected, and that twist ignited both admiration and debate, cementing this year's ranking as one of the most talked about in history. Houston's billionaire scene was forever altered. Social media buzzed with analyses, memes, and debates. Local businesses celebrated or worried depending on which billionaire had influence over their sector. Meanwhile, the individuals themselves reflected on what the ranking really meant. For some, it was a validation of decades of effort. For others, it was a reminder that wealth could never fully capture legacy, influence, or personal fulfillment. Rivera's presence reminded everyone that influence sometimes matters more than numbers. At its core, the story of the 18 Houston billionaires and the icon is a story about human ambition, the pursuit of influence, and the meaning of success. Numbers on a page don't capture sleepless nights, moral dilemmas, personal sacrifices, or strategic brilliance. For viewers, it's a reminder. Wealth can dazzle, but influence, integrity, and vision leave lasting impact. The Forbes list is a snapshot, not the full picture. Months later, images of Houston's skyline at sunset became symbolic. Each building reflected the legacies, struggles, and triumphs of these titans. The story of the 18 billionaires and the icon wasn't just a list. It was a living narrative of ambition, resilience, and transformation, inspiring a new generation to dream bigger while remembering the human cost behind the glamour. And for those who followed the story closely, the question lingered. Who will rise next, and what new icon will redefine what it means to be wealthy in Houston?